It's May 29th, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have two climbers standing where no humans had stood before, a scientist fascinated by dangerous experiments, and a driver breaking barriers at racing's biggest stage. Let's begin. On May 29th, 1953, two men stood near the edge of the sky. For weeks, a massive British expedition had been carving its way up Mount Everest, building camps higher and higher into a world where air grew thin and cold cut through clothing, and every step became a fight for survival. The first summit attempt had failed. Tom Bergeron and Charles Evans had climbed terrifyingly close to the top, only to be forced back down. Then came the second chance. Edmund Hillary, a beekeeper from New Zealand, and Tenzing Norgay, a Sherpa climber with years of Himalayan experience, left their high camp and began the final climb. Above them waited a narrow ridge, deep drops, and dangerous rock walls that would be later known as the Hillary Step. At that altitude, there was no room for panic, no easy rescue, and no guaranteed return. At 11:30 in the morning, they reached the summit. For about 15 minutes, Hillary and Norgay stood at the highest point of the earth. They took photographs, looked over the clouds, and then faced the most important part of their journey, getting back down alive. News of their triumph reached London just in time for Queen Elizabeth II's coronation. And on that frozen morning, before the world knew their names, two men had stood where no confirmed humans had ever stood before. On May 29, 1829, one of the strangest minds in science took its final breath in Geneva, Switzerland. His name was Sir Humphry Davy. Long before modern lavatories felt safe and controlled, Davy was experimenting with invisible forces no one fully understood. Gases that could make people laugh, chemicals that could burn, blind, or explode, electricity powerful enough to tear elements apart. At the Pneumatic Institution in Bristol, he inhaled nitrogen oxide again and again, discovering the mysterious laughing gas could create a euphoria and dull pain. But Davy was not just observing danger from a distance, he was breathing it in his own body. Then he turned to electricity. Using early batteries, he forced nature to reveal secrets hidden inside ordinary substances, isolating elements like sodium and potassium for the first time. These were metals so reactive that they seemed almost alive, flashing and burning when exposed. But Davy's most life-saving invention came from the darkness. In the coal mines, one open flame could ignite invisible fire damp gas and turn tunnels into tombs. So Davy created a safety lamp, wrapped in fine wired gauze, allowing miners to carry lights into places where the light itself could kill them. After years of dangerous experiments and declining health, Davy's own body began to fail him. He left Britain for Europe, and on May 29th, the man who had created invisible gases, hidden elements, and tamed deadly flames was gone. Would you call him brave, reckless, or both? On May 29, 1977, a woman sat behind a wheel in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, surrounded by the sounds that almost felt impossible to escape. 33 cars, thousands of spectators, engines screaming across the brickyard, and starting at the 26th position was Janet Guthrie. Before that day, Indianapolis 500 had been a place built almost entirely around men. For decades, the idea of a woman competing in the greatest spectacle in racing had seemed unthinkable to many. But Guthrie was not just a driver. She was an aerospace engineer, a racer, and someone who had already been told again and again that she didn't belong. And in 1976, she had tried to qualify and failed, but 1 year later, she returned. This time, she made it in. Driving by the number 68 Bryant Heating and Cooling Special with a 4-lap average speed of 188.4 miles per hour. When the green flag dropped, history was no longer waiting outside the gates. It was on the track. The race did not forgive everyone. After 27 laps, engine trouble forced Guthrie out. She finished 29th out of 33, but still, the barrier had already been broken. Sometimes history is not about finishing first, it's about making it impossible to close the gate again. Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next eerie dose is just a day away.